and they've always got on very well indeed, which we were lucky about, weren't we? I never had a doubt that they wouldn't. Never entered my head that they wouldn't all be all right, and they were. But,
did you play the piano a lot?
Yes, a lot. In parties, and we were in demand, and Vic and I were in demand a lot for parties as we got here in this house for sing-songs, because people had that in those days, and we used to have a lot of fun. We've got a few tapes there of the uproarious noise at the parties.
Because you'd have seen quite a few changes over the years, wouldn't you?
Yes, a lot.
Do you remember television?
Yes, I can remember when we got the first television. We were very fortunate. We got one early on in the piece, and people were, coming to hear it and see it. It was a wonderful thing, but and then we've had lots of changes, haven't we, in those years? Can't think of any at the moment.
What about stoves? When you first got married, what sort of things did you cook on?
Oh, well, we had an electric stove, but we had fridge. We didn't have. Yes, we did. We didn't have fridges when we were first married. We had, just a safe, and we had to keep everything. It was. We never had a roast dinner. We didn't, except on a Saturday, because the roast wouldn't keep till Sunday. Most people now have a roast dinner perhaps on a Sunday, but we had no way of keeping anything like that. And milk was a big thing, and the milkman used to come round to the door, and you left a jug on a chair at the back door, and the milkman would ladle it out, the milk, and that was it. He came right round, and I remember the milkman coming one day, and I asked him to come in and take a mouse out of a trap that was leaping round in the cupboard. So I don't know whether it was very hygienic, but never mind, we never even gave that a thought. Hygiene wasn't like it is now. But I suppose we survived, didn't we?
Yeah. But, what was I going to say?
Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
Oh, Nana said to me about when she was little, she remembers like the butcher and the grocer coming.
Yes,
as well.
And you never went, the supermarkets were unheard of, and we just went round to the corner grocer, and he would deliver your groceries round in a big box, and it was quite thrilling really to unpack it on the kitchen table, and the loaves of bread were sold. The baker would come round with a cart, and you could order it so that they delivered it to you, and round to the back door. Everything was the back door, and the postman, he used to put, when I was young, he put the letters right through the front door. We had a proper opening and Petrie Street, and he would deliver the letters right through, and my father had on the back of the front door a box, and they'd fall into it, so that there was no fear of them going astray or going under a carpet or anything. And when we first married, we didn't have carpets. We had a carpet square, and we had just polished floor, stained floor all round the outside of the square. But of course the wall-to-wall carpet came in later. But that was, a big thing when we got a wall-to-wall carpet. We felt we were made. Oh, on top of the world.
But when you had your carpet squares, did you have to beat them?
Yes, always. You see, we had an Electrolux, but at spring cleaning time, that was put on the line, and you'd be surprised at the dirt that was coming out of it, the dust and everything. And it was hard work, because you had to beat it, and with a stick, and beat it, and then we were always thrilled to get it back in, and then we rubbed it. After we'd beaten it, we put it face down on the grass and pulled it along, and the grass seemed to get the dust out too. And that would be that then inside the house, and the house smelled nice after it had all that cleaning. Things are very much easier now. Washing machines came in, and they were, of course, that stopped the copper business. That made life was very much easier now than it was in those days. We used to scrub the clothes on a washing board, scrub the children's clothes that would be dirty.
And didn't wear them out?
No, No, it didn't. But that was, we used to spend hours in the wash house trying to boil the copper, etc.
What about, like, so you've spent most of your life in Christchurch?
Yes, I have.
Can you think of any buildings in town that you sort of remember being built, or anything, like Ballantyne's? Do you remember the Ballantyne's fire?
Yes, I do. I remember that quite vividly. We could see the smoke from Edgware Road where we lived, and the children ran down as far as Bailey Avenue and were allowed to watch on the corner of Bailey Avenue and Colombo Street. And not Ricky, he was only little, but Anne and John went down, and they would remember that too. And it was a dreadful thing. And of course, I think we heard too on the radio, I think by this time we had radios. We didn't have transistors or anything like that, but it was being announced that what a dreadful thing it was, that fire. And of course, there have been a lot of changes in town. With the DIC, was a beautiful big shop, and it's all gone now, and it's Cashfields. And lots of the shops that Armstrong's, that was the one shop where our mothers would go and shop for materials. And our frocks were all made by our mother. We never had a bought frock. It was all, when we were little, it was all sewn for us.
And whereabouts was Armstrong's?
Armstrong's were at where the Victoria Park is now, Queen Victoria Park, and that was Armstrong's there on the corner, and also down at Lower High Street. There was a big Armstrong's down there, and Madras Street went at the back of it. And they've all gone, and we've seen a lot of changes in Christchurch, really, with shops. And still seeing them, aren't we?
Yeah. You were talking before about the radio. Do you remember, did you sort of sit around at night and or listen to particular programs? Can you remember anything you used to?
Radio, yes, I can. There was Fred and Maggie, everybody, and we'd be, particularly in the summer nights, we'd be listening to them, and I can't really remember the other names now, but a lot of women listened to the serials during the day. And there was one, Portia Faces Life. I think she's still facing it. But I couldn't listen because I went back to the office, you see.
Oh, right.
And there was one man in the office that every morning I arrived, I would say, this is the day that the Lord hath made, and he would say to me, we will rejoice and be glad in it. And I did that for 10 years. We never missed the morning. And after I left that office, he would say on the Christmas card, he always put his bit, we will rejoice and be glad in it. It was great, really.
When you were sort of younger, sort of in just after you'd been married, can you sort of remember, like, did you hear much about what was happening in the world? Like,
yes, well, we had news. Well, we didn't hear, we'd hear a day or two later. I don't think we actually got any news. Oh, it used to come perhaps in the papers in the morning. I can remember that Jack would be reading up the war news, and he'd spread the newspaper out on the bench in the morning and come rushing up the hall to tell me some terrible news that had happened with the war, and then go back and read a bit more and come up again. I wouldn't be up.
Lady of leisure.
Yes, well, I had to come to earth and get up and get the children off to school, but he'd be up earlier than me. But it was a lovely life. We didn't rush round like the people do now. We had more of a life that we made at home. We played cards, and we had more of a life together, with the children, really.
And most people would have stayed at home till they got married. We wouldn't have people going flatting.
Oh no, that was unheard of. Flatting would have been quite unheard of in those days. Now it's the norm, isn't it? But we had very secure home lives. As we were young, we wouldn't have entered our heads not to have been at home, and we did everything as a family. It was lovely life we had, and then you see the intervention of radio and TV has spoiled it to a certain extent. the home life isn't quite the same now. But it was lovely. We had very happy life, which was the main thing. I can remember in Richmond, the paddocks all around us, and a big circus coming there in my youth, and a horse went mad or something, and everybody came out from under the tent. No matter where they were sitting, there were people coming out all around the tent. They were going to sit there and see this horse performing in case it went for one of us. But that was a great thrill to go there. Everybody went. Nobody would miss going to the circus, and everybody would be there.
Was that
was our excitement, you see. That was great.
Would that have come about the same time as the show, or were they were different, the A&P show?
No, the circus was I can only remember one coming there. But the A&P show, of course, we never missed it. And we, as a family of Rundles, would set off at 7:30 in the morning, and I'd have made fruit salads and jellies and sandwiches and everything before then. And we'd get our old car right in the show grounds, and then the children would go and help at night. We never left there till about 8 at night, and they would be helping put the pigs and sheep and everything on the train. It came at the back of the showgrounds then, and the smell of them in the car when we were coming home was shocking. The smell of the animals. But it was lovely. We loved the show.
Did you have running water and sort of...
Oh yes, but we had outside toilets in our youth, and they weren't as pleasant as this now, of course. It was unheard of to have a toilet in the house. They were connected to the house, but you had to go outside, even wet and all. You had to go round to it. It was joined on at the back of the house, built there. In time, my father cut a door through when we did get the, what did he call it? The not high pressure, what was the, anyhow, the water toilet.
Flush.
Yes, the flush toilet. And he cut a door through from the laundry, and so that we didn't have to go outside anymore then. There was a door outside, always on it, but we never used that. But I've forgotten what the name of it had a name. But that cost a lot too. That was another big expense that the parents had